the war in the Middle East. By the middle of 1917, there were three major campaigns taking place in the Middle East. There was the Mesopotamian campaign, which began when the British invaded Iraq through the Shatt al-Arab. The first phase of this campaign ended with a British surrender at the fortress of Kut al-Amara in April 1916. This was discussed in episode 17 of this series. In December 1916, the British returned to Mesopotamia, having learned their lessons from that first failed invasion. This time, the British were better prepared and adequately supported. They tore through eastern Iraq before finally conquering Baghdad in March 1917. This was discussed in episode 19 of this series. The second major campaign took place in Sinai and mostly involved the British Egyptian Expeditionary Force. The first battle in Sinai occurred in February 1915 with a failed Ottoman attack on the Suez Canal. Later that year, the British expanded their defensive radius beyond the Suez region and pushed several miles deeper into Sinai. That following spring, the British went on the offensive and eventually drove the Ottomans out of the Sinai Peninsula. This was also discussed in episode 19. The third and final major campaign in the Middle East was the Arab Revolt, which began in Mecca in June 1916. This revolt was led by Sharif Hussein, the Ottoman governor of Mecca. Sharif Hussein expected British funding and support to help him overthrow the Ottomans and establish a kingdom of his own. He was unaware of the Sykes-Picot Agreement, a secret pact between Britain and France to split the Middle East amongst themselves. The so-called Arab Revolt did not start well for Sharif Hussein. Very few Arabs actually joined his cause, and most remained loyal to the Ottoman government. Those who did join had to be bribed with large payments courtesy of the British Treasury. With significant support from Allied forces, the rebels captured the Ottoman garrisons at Mecca, Ta'if, and Jeddah. In reality, the British did most of the fighting, then handed control of these cities over to Sharif Hussein. By the autumn of 1916, the Allies and the rebels controlled the Red Sea coast of Arabia. But the British knew they weren't going to get much from Sharif Hussein's forces. The rebels were fickle, undisciplined, and no match for professional Ottoman soldiers. If not for the British Navy and Muslim British Indian troops, the Arab Revolt would have been crushed within a week. An Arab officer working for the British suggested guerrilla warfare would be the best use of the Arab rebels. They could distract the Ottomans while the British and French did the real fighting. In October 1916, two British intelligence officers, Ronald Storrs and Thomas Edward Lawrence, traveled to the Hejaz to explore this option.